All right, welcome back to another edition of Who You Got. I'm Greg, he's Jimmy. If you're joining us for the first time, please follow us on X and Instagram and hit at Who You Got 33, and please hit the like and subscribe button after watching this video. If you're joining us again, we appreciate you coming back for another episode, hanging out with us while we give you some of our hot takes on sports and some of our picks and try to make us all a little bit of money. You can also see us on KC Sports Authority on their YouTube channel and check those guys out as they give out some great content, especially if you are a Chiefs fan, a KU fan. Nice win this weekend, by the way, which we'll get to later. And even a Missouri fan, they'll give you some nice takes. I don't think they like K-State too much, Jimmy, so if you're a K-State fan, you might not want to go over there. All right. We're going to start with golf, though, Jimmy, since UFC wasn't really a big thing this weekend. And Tommy Fleetwood, he finally gets it done. And he does it in the biggest tournament. He wins the FedEx Cup. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, well done. He was pretty confident afterwards in the interview as well, saying, you can't win a bunch if you don't win the first one. So, I mean, he didn't shy away from the future spotlight. It felt like he got the monkey off his back. Let's see if he can put a run together now.
You know, and you got to think he picked up some fans with the way he's handled this all summer, where he got his heart ripped out at the Travelers. He got his heart ripped out a couple weeks ago. And he basically just said, hey, I keep putting myself into contention, and one of these days we're all going to do it together. We're going to win it together, me and all my supporters. And he kept saying that message yesterday. And he's got a lot of fans until, the last week of September. Sorry, Tommy. I don't think they're going to be rooting for you then at Bethpage. But it was nice to see it. I got to tell you the one thing, and this isn't a shot in any way, so all the trolls, calm down. I had no clue he was married to his wife 23 years his senior. I saw this older kid come running out, and I was like, who in the world is that his brother? Like, I could no clue. And they were like, oh, it's a stepson.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
He's like 34.
He's only 34, right?
Yeah, he's a complete grown up. Yeah. I mean, he was emotional, but yes, he's an adult.
Did you know that? Because I had no clue.
I had no idea. No. Yeah, I did see that though. He came out, it looked like, I don't know. Does he have a second caddy? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, who's the man holding the flag? Like, stepson. Oh, all right. So I immediately went to Wikipedia for that. I was like, wait, this, unless, I have no clue what's going on here. So there we go. That's what that was. And, I wrote this down as I was watching Corey Connors make a charge, as always. I really think, and golf fans are going to understand what I'm saying here, this guy's the new Matt Kuchar. He is just an absolute PGA Tour cash cow. He is like auto top 25, cash and checks every week.
Good for him. Living his best life. I mean,
he's just always there. He's just as steady as they come. And that used to be like what Matt Kuchar was. He'd win every once in a while, but he was just always there.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't who is putting on 18 for. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on the name. He's putting on 18 and he could have taken second. And they actually pointed out like this is a $675,000 putt and he misses.
Oh, I think it was Cantley, right?
It was Cantley.
Yeah, last of the day. Yeah.
I think about all that, but I'm like, that's a lot of pressure. But yeah, I mean, the competitor in all of them wants to win. But if you're in the money, just on and off every tournament, you're making a great living. You're always living in good weather, playing golf. Like, my God, if I could be any professional athlete, as much as I love golf, it's not the top sport for me to watch, though I obviously enjoy watching the big tournaments, but it might be the one I would want to play professionally.
Yeah. Oh my God. And especially look, I know that you love winning, but if you're like a guy like we just talked about, Corey Connors, just out there playing 4 rounds of golf, you're good and you're cashing big checks more times than not. I mean, I'm not going to look it up today, but we'll look it up someday. I'm sure Corey Connors' PGA Tour earnings are already in the 20s of millions of dollars.
What a life. It sounds awesome.
It really is. It's one of the best professional athlete lives I think. I'm not saying it's not a grind, but they live the good life when you're in the top 50 player, right?
Absolutely. Who was the guy? Again, I'm bad with names. Who was the guy on the first full swing that caught a buzz at the turn and won the tournament?
You're talking about Joel Damon?
Yeah. He's the guy. Like, he's awesome.
He flirts with keeping his card and not keeping his card, though. Him and his caddy just broke up this year.
Oh, did they?
They're like best friends, if you watch that full swing.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that sucks. But he seemed like he was living the attitude lifestyle I'd want to live.
He's always right there in the tournaments where the top guys are like across the pond. Like, you throw him out there in the John Deere or whatever the hell they play opposite the British.
Mm-hmm.
He always takes a run at it or goes over to Mexico, makes a little run. But then he's another one who just usually can't close the deal, but he's got all these fans rooting for him.
Yeah.
He'll get one. He'll get another win, though, eventually.
Yeah, his attitude's great.
All right. Look, we're 2 days away, and I've been bringing it up every show, so I'm going to do it again. If you haven't been following along, Keegan Bradley, picks are due Wednesday. He'll make the announcement. I'm sure it's on Golf Channel. Scheffler, J.J. Spawn, Xander, Russell Henley, Harris English, Bryson DeChambeau, automatically on the team. Then he has 6 captain picks. The guys in contention for being one of those picks, Justin Thomas, lock. There's no way Justin Thomas isn't on this team. Colin Morikawa, I go back and forth on because of his form. Ben Griffin, lock him up. There's no way Ben Griffin doesn't make this team. Maverick McNeely comes in at 10th. Keegan himself is 11th. That's the big story. Brian Harmon is 12th. I don't think Brian Harmon's making this team. Novak 13th. Cameron Young 14th. Patrick Cantlay 15th. Sam Bird 16th. Probably rounds out the guys who have a shot. What are your thoughts? Who is he going to land on here?
Well, at this point, we'll go back to, is he going to put himself in? I think he has to. He was right there yesterday.
Again?
Yeah.
And distracted out of his mind, Jimmy, because if you were following the tournament all week, he basically told in one of the interviews he only had a chance to play 9 holes Tuesday, 9 holes Wednesday, didn't get much range time because he's spending all his time watching videos of all these guys to make sure he makes the right choices because he wants to make sure we get that Ryder Cup back.
Yeah, well, look in the mirror because you're one of the right choices. It's not selfish. It's actually selfish to not put yourself in there and give it to somebody else to try to feel better about it. You got to put yourself in. You're one of the top players. We need you there. So, yeah, I think Colin's going to be there. I know you're saying he hasn't been playing well lately, but I can't imagine a world in which he doesn't get on the team.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're going to look at his form. But again, I thought when you watched that full swing that you're talking about, I didn't think there was a world where Keegan didn't make it 2 years ago. And then he got the call from Zach Thomas basically saying, hey, I'm going to put all my friends on the team. Sorry, Keegan. And look, he's got to put himself on the team. I mean, you made the team 2 years ago, and you made it again this year. And all you want to do is be on the Ryder Cup team. You've earned the spot. You have got to be on this team. Not just because he's one of the top 12, but his energy is going to fire that crowd up. That crowd is going to go nuts if Keegan's a playing captain.
Yeah. Well, I sure hope he makes the right call.
Me too. So, again, I'm going to say it's JT for sure, Ben Griffin, Maverick McNeely, Keegan Bradley. And then the final 2, I'm going to go a little contrarian here. I'm going to say he puts Cam Young and Cantlay on the team. Brian Harmon, Novak, and Colin get the call they don't want to get, saying, sorry, boys, not this time.
I mean, same thing, Cantlay, like we just said, he was right there, had a share of second place. Go with the hot hand who's playing well right now.
And that's Cameron Young as well. And then the wild card here is Sam Burns. I mean, Sam Burns has come on these last few months, really. And if his putter gets hot, he's a guy you want on this team, the way the format is in the Ryder Cup. So it's going to be interesting to see what Keegan does, but I'm in 100% lockstep with Jimmy. Keegan's got to put himself on the team to give us the best chance to win the Ryder Cup. And I'll tell you right now, minus 145. I'll be telling you that last week in September. Bet it, parlay it, lock it up. We're taking this. There's no way we're letting this Rory and the Irish Bear and all them and Fleetwood. They're not taking it at Bethpage Black. We're not letting that happen, Jimmy. There's no fucking way.
There's an awesome video out there about Bethpage Black. They give a few tee times every day away, and like people camp out for like a night to get it's wild. But yeah, you can't play the course unless you have a certain handicap, or they highly encourage you not to. But yeah, on our home soil, Long Island, let's go.
Yeah, a lot of those courses, they just ask that you not be a jackass if you're like us and you hit it into the rough. You're not going to get it out of the rough. Just take the ball out, boys. Put it back in the first cut. Play on.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and ruin our course as you whack 17 times and the ball goes 3 feet each time.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what they ask. Like if you play one of these good courses and you're a hack, they're like, hey, we're happy you're here. Thank you for your $500. Please don't destroy the course. Have a great time. I think that's all they're asking. All right. Let's go to a quick MLB update. Boston did what they had to do. I mean, I think they proved, hey, we might be a bunch of non-superstars. I hate to say that, minus like Alex Bregman maybe, but we're gritty, we grind, and we are going to make the playoffs. And they kicked the Yankees right in the dick. Yankees came back and saved face last night, but the Sox did what they needed to do. They went 3-1, and they've kicked the shit out of them all year. They've only lost to them twice this year. I think now I'm comfortable saying I think the Sox make the playoffs, Jimmy. I think you can lock it up now.
I would say you can lock it up. I was actually my one brief period of not madness from a family standpoint on Saturday. I got to sit at a bar for about an hour and watch the Yankees just get crushed. It just go from bad to worse. We look up at the board, and the Sox have 12 up in a bar with a Red Sox fan and mostly Yankee fans. Otherwise, but I don't see how you can argue with that. Since that trade we talked about ad nauseum, all they've done is play better baseball, and I think you can lock them in. The other thing for the Yankees, though, they're going to probably get in because there's just not a lot behind them. Like Cleveland's not going to catch them, Kansas City's not going to catch them. They've got a pretty easy schedule, easy road ahead of them. So I think the Yankees are going to get in almost by default, just because nobody's going to get there.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think you're going to get Red Sox, Yankees in, and then we'll see what happens behind them. But I don't think two teams are going to leap them because I'm still not sold on Seattle. Sorry, I'm just not. So it wouldn't shock me if the Royals or the Rangers catch Seattle.
Yeah.
But then let's turn to the National League and your boys. I'm still not ready to say your boys are in, but it really seems to me like the Reds don't ever want to take advantage of the door when the Mets leave it just a little bit ajar. It's like the Reds just run right into the door. So I think the Cubs and the Pods are in. I think they are the two best teams in this wild card race, and I don't see either of them not making it.
Yeah.
Are they going to pull it out or no?
Look, I think they do, but here's the issue with the Mets.
The Reds?
Well, the Reds, but their schedule gets really tough. So look, they took 2 against Atlanta, then they lost one. They finally, I know we talked about the prospects. They called Nolan McLean up from Syracuse, won him the first game, and he went 7 innings. Then Clay Holmes went 6 innings on the second game they won, and then last night, Peterson went over 5. It was Soto, the middle reliever, that lost them the game. They should have taken all 3 games against Atlanta, but they actually got some length out of their starting pitching. They never got to Diaz last night because it was already blown at that point. Tonight, they're playing. They've got who's going tonight? Senga's going tonight. I think they've got Manaea. He's back. Let's see if he's looked rusty, but he's trying to shake off the injuries. I will give you the play tonight, though. Senga on the mound. I think they're plus 130. I haven't checked it. I think they're plus 135. I would take the Mets. Senga's 5-1 at home. And he's going up against Christopher Sanchez, who's good, but he's 6-4 on the road, and their ERAs are virtually identical at home and away, 2.5, 2.5, and their whips are really similar too. So I think a good play tonight is the Mets at home. But here's the problem: they've got to try to go 2-1 against the Phillies in these next 3 games at home, and then they get the Marlins for 3. They need to go 5-2 because they've got 25 games left in September. And listen to this: 19 of those games are against the Tigers, the Phillies, the Padres, the Cubs, the Reds, who they're in contention with, and the worst team that I've named is the Rangers, who's a 500 ball club right now. They only have 6 games against shitty teams, the Marlins and the Nationals. So it's not real pretty in September for the Mets. So if they're going to fall off, that's going to be the reason. Again, I like the fact they called this kid up. They're trying some things out. Their starters are getting them a little more length. They usually get them 4 innings. They're getting them 5, 6, 7 innings. But yeah, it's not an easy September for them. It's the opposite of the Yankees, where the Yankees just are gonna coast in. So I would circle those 3 games against the Reds. If the Reds take 2 of those 3 or all 3 of them, then I think the Mets could be cooked. If the Mets can turn it up, they'll be okay. But that's a tough schedule I just ran through. And the Marlins are at the very end of it. They end the year with 3 against the Marlins. So if they're still in it, they've got 3 winnable games to finish it out. But we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting ride home, and I think the turn in the punch bowl here for the Mets was no one saw the Brewers coming. Like, I think when we first talked baseball in March, we both said, all right, Cubs in, and we both liked the Reds. Nobody saw Milwaukee having a 5-game lead as we turn the calendar September almost.
Yeah, for sure nobody saw them being at the top of the mountain. That's for sure.
Right, and we thought the Reds would be the team competing for a wild card. And, we knew the Mets and Phillies would be, we thought, a good race, but unfortunately, it was just a huge surge from the Phils. But we're going to see what they do now without Wheeler, who's now done for the year. So we'll see what this team does without him. That's one big hole in the rotation. Now, I think they're good enough to overcome it. I mean, if you look at playoff chances right now, they still give the Mets an 86% chance to make the playoffs and the Reds an 11.
Yeah, I saw that. I just, like I said, I think that I didn't look in depth at the Red schedule like I did at the Mets schedule, so I don't know what they've got ahead of them. But that was the only thing that makes me nervous is the difficulty of a competition
I
going
know,
into
and
it.
it's a good point by you, and that's why, if people are looking, that's why they still give the Yankees a better chance than the Red Sox to make the playoffs. The Yankees are 95 and the Red Sox are 87. It's because the Sox schedule coming home is way harder than the Yanks. So you project out the wins, and yeah, unfortunately, the Yankees probably do have the better chance and are probably the right pick, to your
Most
point.
likely, I still feel good about the Mets just because we they had a couple of nice win streaks. They had obviously two really bad losing streaks, but they're still playing solid baseball. Like there's no one like if their starting pitching gives them this kind of output, we believe in the relievers and Diaz can obviously close. They're still hitting the ball. They're still putting up runs. So it's not like they're in an unbelievable drought. So I think they can do it. Now, if they get in as a wild card team, are they going to make any noise? I don't know. But I still think that there's a real good chance they pull it off. But again, I think they need to go 5-2 over the next 7, and then head into September in okay shape, and we'll find out. I do think they win tonight.
Yeah, I agree with you. They got to get a big win, a big few wins over this next week. And you know what? They need the Reds to lose a few games that they should win. That's what they're going to need. They're going to need a little help. Goes both ways. All right, here's where we didn't get a little help this weekend, as I started the year on my picks 2-3, and unfortunately our combined picks started the year 1-4. What was your big reaction to week 0 college football here?
To me, and I know you've had some luck in years past, but it's always tough, like kicking off the year because teams are rusty. They're coming out of the preseason, so I don't take a ton away from it. I think that the Hawaii game I got to watch. I mean, I obviously kept up with all the games, but I got to watch a lot of the Hawaii game at night. That was a great effort by the one that we pulled out by their quarterback, basically on one foot. Really nice end of that game. I mean, Sam Houston State had the ball down at the goal line in the fourth. That should have been a push at worst.
Should have been a push at worst. I got it at 10.5. That was one that turned my weekend. It should have been 3-2. I don't know what you're thinking, not running the ball or sneaking it from the 1 when you're down by 17. Get it to 10 and go on sides. There's still 2.5 minutes left in the game.
Stupid.
These dopes go into a pass formation. Like, what are you doing? And he gets
and
sacked.
They got pushed back to the 9 after that.
9, yeah, gets sacked for an 8-yard loss. They're literally inside the 1 and don't run.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Of a bad team, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. UNLV, not only did they not cover a big number, they flirted with losing to Idaho State.
Yeah,
before they
that was my other winner. I had the over there. I knew there was going to be a lot of points in that game. It started out slow. I was really nervous because the over-under was 65, and it was only 10-0 after 1. And I said, oh, this might be another loser. But that one we pulled out.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas just finds different ways to disappoint us.
I got a take on Kansas later when we do our futures here, which is coming up. That's how we're going to end the show.
Yeah,
I was
K-State. I didn't get to watch the K-State game because it was early. I was texting you, and I was running the kids from this to that to the other thing, keeping up with it on it. But a lot of the people, a lot of experts that we follow, like the over on the yardage for the quarterback. He didn't come anywhere close to it. They lose by 3 overseas. I don't know. You watched that game. Like I said, I didn't get to follow that one as closely because it was early.
So take on K-State. They took a huge hit. And I'll say this again when we get to the Big 12 later and we preview it, but they took a huge hit for their conference title hopes this year. And I hate teams that when you look at the box score, especially for the first half, you're like, oh, this team must be winning. And it's like, oh no, they're tied at the half 7-7. How are they not up a score? Then they get the ball to start the second half and they look like they're going to go up again and nope, can't move the ball. And all of a sudden they're down and they're down 10 at one point. And it's just like, they're just not a good team. They're not what they're supposed to be. A big step forward for Iowa State. I'm not sold on them yet, which I'll say again later when we talk about the Big 12, but I think we learned all we need to learn about Avery Johnson, not a true Heisman contender. I mean, you got to go win that game. And K-State, not a true title contender for the Big 12. They are who we thought they are. They're just never going to win a big game when they have to. I mean, this was the chance to show the world, hey, we actually are the front runner, not ASU in the Big 12. And instead, You brought a team that was preseason 12-1 right back into the fold with 1-0 with a nice win. And way to go, Iowa State. Again, like you already kind of touched on it, but Kansas, like Fresno State, no, they're not world beaters, but they're not a terrible program. I was very impressed. I mean, Kurt Warner's kid is their quarterback, so I mean, they have some talent there. I was thoroughly impressed with Kansas on both sides of the ball. Their speed on defense was there. They had talent on the line. They had talent at linebacker. They had talent in the back. And if that quarterback stays healthy, the offense seems to move the ball. Hawaii, you're 100% right. That was a gritty win. That was well done by Hawaii. That's kind of all my takeaways from week 1. Is there anything, we're going to do a pick and six, and we're going to break down Saturday's games in the next show. Is there anything Thursday or Friday that you really circled and said, hey, we got to get this information out. We got to get them betting on something?
The Boise State game, what the hell is it? Hold on a second. Let me go
5:30 Thursday, Boise State giving 6.5 out South Florida.
Yeah, I mean, they're traveling to South Florida. It's hot there. I mean, to me, Boise State's a much better team. 6.5 doesn't seem like a huge number. Is it because it's going to be 95 degrees with 90% humidity? Is it the travel? I mean, what's the move here? Is this a trap line? Because to me, I'm like, well, Boise State minus 6.5.
Yep.
Any thoughts on that?
So for me, because of everything you just said, I don't think they lose. Is 6.5 too many? It doesn't wind up being a dogfight in a close game. I don't know. I think this is one, if you're a money line player, if you're a teaser player, this is one you can put in money lines or teasers. If you're a spread better, like me most times, I would just pass on this game. If you're going to set up one money line parlay or one teaser this week, I would say Boise State would be a good team to have in it. The other game for me on Thursday, love Cincinnati getting 6.5 from Nebraska. I think Cincinnati is going to overachieve this year. I think Nebraska, while I think they have some good pieces, I don't know if they should be a 6.5 point favorite, even at a neutral field over Cincinnati. I think this is going to be a competitive game. I think we're going to see a game just like we saw Iowa State, Kansas State, Iowa State. I think we'll get right around a field goal game. So I'll take Cincinnati getting 6.5. I like the points there.
Okay. I looked at it, but I can't bet it because where I am. But the line I saw was 14.5 on Rutgers. Rutgers at home versus Ohio. Rutgers starts the season strong, generally speaking. I can't bet it. But that's one that I kind of looked at if I could, or if I find myself in New York State and can sign in for a second.
Yeah, look, you got a bad team in the Big Ten there versus a team that probably is going to have a good shot to win the MAC. I'll take a touchdown and a hook there. 2 touchdowns and a hook there. I'd take Ohio, getting 14.5 there.
There you go.
You'll chop some wood, but not all the wood. A little pile will be left.
All right.
Friday, I got one big play, and I'll end with that. I like Georgia Tech, given 4.5 versus Colorado. I think everyone's going to see Dion there. 4.5 points. Remember what they've done the last couple of years and jump all over it. It's a trap. Take Georgia Tech, lay the lumber. That Colorado team is not very good on both sides of the ball. They gave up a lot of points last year. Wait till you see what happens this year. I would bet Georgia Tech. And then my play of the first 2 days of this week 1, big play here for me on Auburn. I think Auburn's going to have a rebound year. I love them giving 2.5 to Baylor. I think they win this game by multiple scores, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I looked at that in Baylor. But yeah, I think Auburn's going to come back as well.
All right. Those are our Thursday, Friday plays. Let's talk. You know what? Before we get to the futures, Jimmy, I'll give you some fan comments and you can reply as I track these for us. So on the bourbon, well, it was a pretty good split right down the middle for the bourbon draft. A lot of people liked your value, but me with the higher end ones, I think people gravitated to the Blantons.
Yeah, I mean, look, both are winning lists, to be clear.
I agree.
Nobody threw out a shitty bourbon, so you'd be happy with either one you got.
You took one hit in the comments.
Go for it.
It said, should Jimmy be allowed to draft a bourbon he didn't even know what it was, and Greg had to explain to him what the barrel was.
Yeah, so that's a good point, but I've drank the barrel.
You have.
I just can't find the one we drank, so I don't have consistency with it. Because it's, for some reason, doesn't exist here, and I'm not sure why.
It's a good point. If the commissioner read the wrong name, It would be an invalid pick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Good point.
we'll give him a pass. All right. Some comments on our YouTube videos, by the way, up to 16,500 views, everybody. So make sure you tune in there. The shorts seem to get a lot of love. But we do have some haters, as always. We had one person call me a dope, asking why I even talk about football. Appreciate you. And yeah, you're not wrong. We'll be the first to say it. We probably shouldn't have a platform. A lot of people were very, very mad that we did not address Saquon at all as a running back they should be targeting. I replied to a couple of those comments and said, yet again, like we did say, and I'll say it again, we're not saying you want to draft Barkley? Go ahead and draft Barkley. For us, 28, injury prone, to repeat what he did last year is asking a lot. Give me Gibbs. I would prefer Gibbs over Barkley. So if I'm in that spot, I'm taking Gibbs. If he falls again, I'm taking CD or JJ over Barkley. That's how I'm drafting. You want to draft Barkley? I'll shake your hand if you're in my league. I don't want him.
Yeah, look, he could for sure. Saquon Barkley's a fantastic running back, so nobody's saying he's not a fantastic running back, but law of averages are what they are. And typically, coming off of 2,000-yard seasons, you don't repeat that, right? It doesn't happen again. And he is 28, to your point, and he has a history of injuries. He's injured a lot, right? So there's just too many things working against him that, yeah, I'm not telling you if he fell to you, there's not at a point I would take him, but I agree. I would take the players he just named over, especially Gibbs.
Yeah, and again, you want to take him? Be my guest. Then we got crushed for our deep quarterback sleepers. Two people wrote, how many teams are in your league, boys? 24? When we said Jones or Young as a deep sleeper. Again, you gotta YouTube short watchers, we love you, but if you watch, and I wrote this in the comments, if you watch the whole show, what we were talking about is in these home leagues, especially the 12-team ones, people love having 3 quarterbacks for some reason on their roster. So if you're stuck in rounds 14, 15, and you want a backup, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, not terrible options was kind of where we were coming from. But that's what it was. It was more of a warning in case you get stuck, because you would be drafting the right way by not having 3 quarterbacks. Or I'm fearful that the league I'm about to join with Jimmy here, people draft 4 because it's a super flex. It won't shock me if some clown puts 4 on his roster.
Yeah, I mean, look, in a super flex league, the deep sleepers obviously matter, but they're almost not sleepers because everybody has 3, right? So if you're in a 10-team league, everyone's going to have, not everyone, but most people are going to have that third quarterback on their roster. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't think Bryce Young's a crazy thought. He came back in last year. He had a really good year. I understand people are high on Carolina, and that makes me nervous. We've talked about it with Chuba Hubbard as well. I don't know that they take this big next step, but Bryce Young looked like it clicked after he sat for a little while last year. I mean, he looked like a legit NFL quarterback, and if they can keep that system going, he could be a top-end pick.
Yeah, look.
In a couple years. But to say he's a sleeper this year isn't a stretch.
Here's my response to the quarterback thing. And again, when I draft, I'll have to draft the board. Like I always say, you got to play the board. But you can have 3 quarterbacks. Unless I'm absolutely forced into feeling like, God damn it, I have to take a third quarterback, I will. But even in super flex, you know how many times a wide receiver 2 is going to outscore that third quarterback? More times than not. Another running back who's actually good and that you can scoop up will probably get 14 points, where that QB probably gets 11 or 12 because he's not very good. So I still disagree with 3 quarterbacks. Yeah, I get it. You're going to have to pick one up on the bye week, but don't draft for injuries or backups. Like I say all the time, get your 2 quarterbacks, your quarterback and your super flex, and then on the one of their bye weeks, if you got to make a move, but load your roster with running backs and receivers. My God. All right. Jimmy, it's time. It's college football time for real now. We had a little warm up with 5 games, and now it's time to give our official picks for every conference, who we think is going to win the Heisman and who we think is going to win the whole thing. So I would like to start in the Fun Belt. And for me, this is one of my favorite plays of the year, and that is James Madison, plus 260. Last year's Sun Belt Championship game featured Marshall, Louisiana. The Raging Cajuns have a chance to go back this year. The Thundering Herd don't look the same. They look like they're going to take a step back this year. So it looks like there's going to be a big battle in the West, where James Madison is lined as the clear favorite to win the East, right? So they're probably getting that championship game. That's why I love them here, plus 260, because after them, these odds fall way back because we don't know what's going to happen in the West. Now, don't be shocked here. The Sun Belt, no one really pays attention to this league until later in the season when you're looking for something to bet on like a Wednesday. But
Yes.
yeah, I know. But these teams are pretty good. And then what happens is the SEC, the ACC, and all the others come in and poach them at the end of the year. But look, James Madison's coming off a great year. They were 9-4. They had the 12th best offense in the land, 22nd ranked D. Again, I know the competition isn't as good as some others, but there's no reason to believe they're going to slow down in 2025. So I'm taking JMU plus 260, Jimmy, in the Fun Belt.
I like it. I don't have a lot to add. It looks like, I mean, who's the second odds-on favorite? Is it Georgia Southern? Is it Southern Alabama? I mean, who's the next shortest odd team here?
The next shortest odd teams are all these teams in the West.
Yeah, that's what makes sense.
Because this is still one where you have the two divisions and the winner of each play each other in the championship game.
Yeah, Louisiana's next, then Texas State. Yeah.
And Louisiana, again, they could run it back.
I'm going to go with you. I mean, yeah, the odds are the odds for a reason. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend to make up anything I know about the Sun Belt beyond what you just stated. So James Madison.
James Madison for Jimmy. All right. Did you do a little research on Conference USA for us for this show?
I said Conference USA. All right, let's pull up the odds, see what Greg knows about them. That's about how far I got. Liberty's the favorite. I mean, you've got Sam Houston, because we watched them last week, but we know they're basically cooked now. So yeah, now I don't have a ton to offer after that. It seems like Western Kentucky might give them a run, but yeah, tell me, educate me on Conference USA.
This conference just got completely picked apart by the AAC, which took Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, North Texas, Rice, UAB, and UTSA a few seasons ago. Now it seems like this is kind of the only open door for teams transitioning from FCS to FBS. So this is kind of like a revolving door for anyone who wants to come in to the FCS. So they added 2 teams this year: Delaware, Missouri State. Welcome to the big show. Problem with those is, as you know, when you come in for your first year, you're not eligible to win the conference. So during the transitional phase, so they're not part of it, and they won't be on the futures. Or teams in FBS last year. Here's the bad part for Conference USA. Only one of them ranked in the top 100. So it's not, again, it's another one that's not a real strong conference, but it's one that gamblers hold true to their heart, because Tuesdays and Wednesdays later in the year, they like to put up a slate for us to bet. So we love them. So for me, this is just very easy. They're a clear favorite for a reason. Liberty is plus 120. Yeah. Western, the Hilltoppers here who got us this weekend, not happy about it, Jimmy. Plus 300. I don't have any faith in them. So for me, I think that's a clear shot here. Give me Liberty or give me death, plus 120. Conference USA. Write it down, Jimmy. Liberty, plus 120.
I like it. I'm going to take the Mountain Climbers at a plus 1,100.
All right. You can do it. Didn't even know that was a thing. I don't even know where they are.
Because they don't exist, and nobody would know that either. I just made it up, because nobody knows anything about conference.
Sitting there looking at the odds going, does Jimmy know something I don't?
Yeah. It'd be a team that nobody else knew I made up either.
They're all going to know. The people that listen to the show, bet it every Tuesday and Wednesday like me, are going to be like, what is this guy talking about?
What's he do the mountain climb?
Now we're going to take more heat on YouTube. They're all going to be like, why does this guy talk? And
yeah, well, because we're just trying to have fun with Conference USA.
That's true. And
bring all the heat.
But now we can climb a mountain. Let's climb the Mountain West.
Mountain West. I mean, look, I did look at the Mountain West. It's obviously Boise State. I mean, I don't know how we can make a really strong case. I'm sure you can for someone else.
No,
it's Boise State, right?
Yeah, there's a reason they're 165, and the next best team, San Jose State, plus 800. For me, look, Boise State made the playoffs last year. They're going to look to do it again this year. I see no one in the Mountain West that's going to get in their way. I think they're going to close out their days in the Mountain West with another conference title. Godspeed, Boise State in the Pac-12 next year. Welcome back, Pac-12. Boise State minus 165. I don't think you have any issue here laying the lumber.
Yeah, I agree. There's no one else there.
All right, Jimmy. It's time for the MAC.
Oh, the MAC.
What do you got for me in the MAC? This should be your conference coming from where you are. All those teams, Ohio, Miami. Come on. This should be like your thing from your childhood. What do you got for me in the
Yeah,
MAC?
no, we were Big Ten country. I Toledo's the favorite. Buffalo, I mean, Western Michigan is going to get blown up by Michigan State the first game. Not that it matters. I think Ohio is going to go get beat by Rutgers and take their first loss off the bat. I mean, I don't know. I've got nothing here. Kent State, I believe, is called the Zips, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a hitman from Sicily. So
Wrong again. That's
okay,
Akron.
well, Akron. Sorry, Kent's in Akron. That's why I was mistaken there. Yeah, yep. Two awesome schools. Very.
Again, Jimmy just hating on the mid majors.
Yeah, well, they did. Antonio Gates came from Kent. They got that going for him. So there you go.
This conference, look, it's a conference with a lot of mediocre teams. So everyone just kind of beats up on. Yeah, they just kind of beat up on everybody inside this conference. And Jimmy said it. You got Toledo and Ohio at the top, and then Bowling Green, Western Michigan, Northern Illinois. They'll have moments here and there, but do we really think they're going to jump up and win the conference this year? I don't. I think they're all hoping for lightning in a bottle. For me, I'm taking a shot on Ohio plus 320. They were 11-3 last year. They returned 7 starters on offense, including the QB. So we got some experience there. I think a lot of love will go to Toledo. And you know how I feel about betting favorites most of the time. So I'm going to go to the second team on the board here. And give me Ohio in the MAC. Jimmy, write it down as who you got picked. We're going to go with Ohio to take the MAC.
All right.
All right, now we're going to get into conferences that people know. And we can, Jimmy might have an opinion or two here, hopefully, coming up. Let's go to the AAC. Can you give us a little AAC, Jimmy?
AAC. I can give you ACC.
Yeah, well, that's coming. Don't worry. We're going to get there. We're going to get there, everybody.
That seems like what people want to hear about. Well, probably not. I'm sure everybody's not super excited about the ACC either, but we've got some good stuff to talk about there. The AAC. No, I don't have a lot for you. Why don't you tell me what you got?
I brought it up in the past. Like, we're in a new world of football, right? Continuity and loyalty are not common in most programs, but you know where they are? Army and Navy, which, as Jimmy can't see Rutgers, I can't see Army, so I actually don't know the current odds of Army. Navy is plus 380 to win this conference. But they were great last year, 12-3 and 10-3 respectively. Army won the American Championship game, only to go lose to Navy a few days later. That was impressive. They beat Tulane in the championship game. And so you got to think Army is coming back strong. I think, the Green Wave has shown us for a few years they are becoming a pretty good football program. They've won a decent bowl game over USC a few years ago. I don't think this conference is as weak as people think. I think there's someone here who can rise up and possibly make the college football playoff. A lot of teams here who were at the top of the conference last year took a big hit, though. Tulane lost a bunch of people. Memphis has lost a bunch of people. Army, like we just talked about, they're going to have to replace 2,000-yard rushers. Maybe that opens a door here for a UTSA down the board. Or, let's see, maybe, I'm trying to think who else might have a shot here. I don't really love Charlotte. Christ, they're 150 to 1. You can throw Rice out the window. I don't know. UTSA maybe at 450. Is someone who the door could be open for. However, not for me. I still like Memphis plus 550, Jimmy. They're great value. They were 11-2 last year, and I know they lost a bunch of starters, but I believe in Silverfield, their coach, and I think he'll have them reloaded and ready. I also think the schedule lines up well for him. So, since Jimmy won't have a pick, write us down for the who you got official pick, Memphis plus 550 down the board to win the AAC.
So what you'd be interested in is I actually did have a pick for this. Yeah, and I agree with you on Memphis. They also have the most NIL money. So they lost a lot. They lost a lot on defense as well, but they seem to be able to reload pretty well, and that's a big part of it. Their NIL money, again, compared to their partners in the American, isn't real strong. They were 11-2 last year. They've been good the past couple of years. I think them down the board, I think they have the third. I think they're the third longest odds to win it. But when I was looking at the schedule, if they get by Tulane, they win the conference to me. And they don't play Tulane till November. But yes, I actually did have a pick here. I'm shocked that we were on the same page, but we genuinely were. But that was my note. If they get by Tulane, I think they're going to be okay. So let's see what happens. But Memphis, I'm with you. Mark it down.
Yeah, the schedule lines up for them. I'm telling you, I love them plus 550, and we talked about it on an earlier show. I love them over their win totals. Bet both, and I'd bet them confidently.
Because the only game they're going to be big dogs at is Arkansas. And so so let's just say they don't get by there, but if they do that, and they get by Tulane. There's not another game on there that you say isn't winnable. I'm not saying they're going to only lose one game this year, but in theory, it's very possible.
They only lost 2 last year, everybody.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a decent program. I'm telling you, I think Silverfield's the best coach in this conference. I really do. I love them plus 550. I think we're making a good, smart bet here, especially for the value. All right, now we'll go to the 4 conferences everybody's been waiting for. We'll start with, in my opinion, the weakest one, the ACC. So last year, first season in the conference, Jimmy, the Mustangs finished with the best record in the ACC, went to the college football playoffs. Fortunately, they didn't win the championship game, right? Clemson took it. But I think the biggest disappointment last year was the Crystal Ball again, who started 9-0. Look like there's no way Miami's not going to the playoff. There's no way Miami's not going to go to the championship game, and neither have.
Yeah, look, people are really high on Clemson right now. I hear a lot of sports talk radio guys, TV guys talking about them potentially being in the championship game. I don't look. They're returning a ton of players, right? They've got consistency. Debo Sweeney was famous for talking about not liking the transfer portal, and I remember thinking to myself, hey man, you got to get with the times. But he did manage to keep like the majority of his starters intact. So you have to assume that counts for something. Their schedule also isn't exactly a barn burner. They don't, they've got the game at Louisville will be tough. I know that's come up on people's schedule. Of course, they end at South Carolina, see what they look like. I mean, outside of that, the first game is their big test, right? So that's it. So after the first game, there's not a lot that scares you. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
I think it comes down to this, and you brought it up with Memphis. Once again, Miami, with some of the deepest pockets in this sport because of the money they have down there for NIL deals and everything, are going to try to come up and challenge Clemson. We said it again. Last year was a big disappointment. They came out 9-0 and fell apart. This year, they're second on the odds boards again. SMU nearly got the job done last year. They're third on the board. But I think the Mustangs this year, if that defense doesn't show up, who was 7th in the country last year in yards per play allowed, they don't have a shot. As far as after that, I don't know. Do you believe in Louisville or Georgia Tech? I don't really. I'm going to rule out Virginia Tech, Florida State. Now, North Carolina is the wild card to me because the hoodie's there. Now, I hate writing that team off just because. Is there any way he's just that smart when it comes to X's and O's that he finds a way somehow at a huge price to get into?
I think a year from now, maybe, right? It'd be cool if he did. It would be really cool if he was just that head and shoulders smarter than everybody else at the X's and O's in football, that you could prove that a good system. Because obviously he's the best coach in the ACC, including Dabo Sweeney. He's not Bill Belichick. It's not close. Yeah, I think so, but I like Miami. I think, look, they're returning, again, most of their players, and I don't think, at least from, I know Cam Ward was number 1 overall pick. Hopefully he does great in the NFL, but Carson Beck's really good. So one of the people that's not returning on offense, 6 stars returning on offense, and one of them is the quarterback that isn't, but they're replacing him with a national champion. Right. He's really, really good. So the problem is same thing. Miami's schedule is tougher. It's just it's a harder schedule. So there's some games on there that you're like, well, yeah, they should win, but we just don't know what these teams are going to be. Right? The Florida could be a really tough game. Notre Dame is going to be a tough game. SMU is going to be a tough game. They're just more difficult games. If Clemson gets by LSU, which we don't think they will, we'll give out our pick for that to come. But if they did, it's not. There's they get the monkey off their back after week 1, and then they can concentrate on the rest of the year. So I want to pick Miami. I think at plus 380, or that's what they were last I checked. It might have moved. I like Miami, but I'm also rooting for that to be the truth.
All right, so your official pick for the folks would be Clemson, but you hope Miami? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm going to go Miami. I think Miami's going to do it. I think Clemson's going to get knocked off in the first week, and then let's see what happens.
Yeah, look, like I was starting to say here, is I kind of writing off the rest, except you never know with Belichick what the wild card is with the factor there with him being the coach. And again, does he know more than everybody, and can he use that and win a bunch of games that we don't see coming? Maybe, but I'm not buying into it just yet. Like Jimmy said, maybe next year. I was very intrigued. What's Andrew Luck going to do at Stanford? Well, we found that out this weekend. They couldn't beat Hawaii, so not worried. In the end, I looked into my crystal ball, and I am a glutton for punishment. And I'm going right back to the well like last year. With the addition of Carson Beck, the offense should put up points on anyone. The D should be improved. The schedule, to me, I don't think is terrible, even with the first game. So at plus 380, I just can't pass up the U. It's all about the U.
We agree on Memphis. We agree on the U.
We do. It's very scary, so I wouldn't bet either of them, everyone. But what I will say is this. Clemson does deserve to be the favorite at plus 105. Don't mistake that at all. I just don't like the value at plus 105. I would rather take a shot on plus 380 and hope to get lucky here. But Clemson is the best team in this conference and the most talented. Don't for a second think that they shouldn't be plus 105. It is by far the right number. It's just not enough for me, Jimmy. All right, let's go to the Big 12. Welcome, everybody, to the most wide-open conference of 2025. Lowest odds on the board, Arizona State, plus 550. Where are your initial thoughts here when you look at this mess?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's probably the best play. I mean, before the year, Kansas State had a similar total or the same total, but there's one off the board right there, right? I'm not going to write Kansas State off for the year, but I certainly don't think that helps them. Iowa State didn't do enough to overly impress me. They had another high win total. So, we're going at this with two of the teams with a little bit of information on two of them
We do.
already.
We have a little information. I
Yeah.
agree there. It's a good point. Look, last season, Arizona State, don't forget, was picked to finish dead last in the Big 12. But Dillingham led the Sun Devils to a conference title and the playoffs. They crushed Iowa State in the championship game. And maybe that gives hopes to teams like Zona, West Virginia, UCF, Oklahoma State, who are all projected to be terrible this year.
Yeah.
But for me, it's still likely it's going to come from the top, Jimmy, one of these top teams. The question is which one, because they're so jumbled.
So I think my pick is Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech gets it done. Again, they're returning 10 on offense, 11 on defense. They were 8-5 last year. They're returning a couple of receivers. I mean, they've just I don't Zona State. They did a Sports Center special, and I mean, they have this whole thing going. It seems like they've got energy, they've got momentum. It's a place people want to play. They've got a coach that's got swag. I mean, it's this whole thing, right? But I think Texas Tech gets it done at plus 600. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, this is not going well for the fans here, and you're going to see why in a minute. So look, the K-State Wildcats have been great under the coach. The coach has been done a great job there, right? And they return the dual threat quarterback in Avery Johnson, who had hopes of maybe the Heisman, but I think all of that, like I said, took a huge hit Saturday, and we kind of learned who we know they are. A nice team who's just never going to get over the hump. With that said, like I said, Iowa State, I think their stock rises a little, but I'm still not a believer in them yet. I'm just not. Sun Devils, look, they lost a huge piece. Scat and Bow, not on the team. But they kept a huge piece. The quarterback. I mean, the quarterbacks are pretty important in college football, right? So he's back with 17 returning players with experience. So Sun Devils could be tough. Utah seems to emerge as the sexy pick for everybody now at 6-1. This team just riddled with injuries last season, and it showed up in their final record of 5-7. They were projected to have a shot at the playoffs. Finished 5-7. And that's what happens when your quarterback goes down and everybody else pretty much. So I think they're loaded. I think Utah is loaded, and I think I like them better than the Wildcats, but I'm targeting two other teams at this point. And unfortunately, Texas Tech is one of them, Jimmy. I love this team at 6-1. I said it in a previous show we had when we were previewing the Big 12 top to bottom. This is another team, everyone, that has no shortage of funds when it comes to getting players in that portal. They return 21 starters. And this is a team, to me, that underachieved last year at 8-5. The knock on this team, believe it or not, is they didn't upgrade a quarterback. Morton's still there. He's injury prone. He hasn't really proved he's a big-time quarterback yet. But their running game, and what I think is a awesome D should propel them to the top, in my opinion. So give me the Red Raiders as my official who you got pick 6-1. But I'm going to give you a bonus pick. And this is for you, Keegan. I can't believe these words are coming out of my freaking mouth. 12-1. I got to tell you, after watching them play Fresno and just dismantle them, if Daniel stays healthy and the D can play with that type of speed and intensity, Kansas is going to be a problem. And they're worth a shot at 12-1 to win this thing. For now, Jimmy, the Jayhawks have pulled me back in. I'm dipping one toe into the pool, Keegan, for right now. But 12-1, I think, is a hell of a value play now that we have a little information. And saw more. It was more the defense than the offense for me. We knew the offense would be good because of Daniels is a great quarterback if he stays healthy. But I was impressed by the defense. Texas Tech 6-1. But if you want to take a shot further down the board, I got no issues with anyone now that you have a little information taking 12-1 shot on the Hawks.
Yeah, I certainly feel better about it than 9.5-1 on K-State.
Yeah. All right. It's time for the Big Ten. This is our conference. It's another season, Jimmy, of Big Ten football, and another year where I feel at least it's Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, the Ducks, and then you can cross out the rest.
Yeah, it's funny. You've been on the Penn State bandwagon for a while, and everybody is kind of
they're all jumping on now.
They're all jumping on.
I'm pulling them up left and right. I mean,
everybody's jumping on.
This line went from 300 down to 220 now. They're almost the favorite to win this conference. I am glad I got a lot of tickets, a lot higher than plus 220. But yeah, everyone's jumping on now. As you saw, we talked about it last show, and I predicted Penn State came out as the second-ranked team in the land.
Yeah, I think it comes down to those three teams. Obviously, look, I'd love to make an argument for Michigan. I think they're a year away. I think, again, we've talked about Bryce Underwood is that he's young. They've lost obviously a couple critical players to the draft. Michigan, I think, is going to be good and competitive, but I really think it comes down to those three. Let's see if Penn State can get over the hump. Hopefully they can. Hopefully Drew Aller continues to improve at quarterback. I know he's got somewhat short odds. I think he's 5th or 6th on the board for the Heisman. I think it comes down to those two. We're obviously going to be on Penn State. I don't think that's a big surprise. We don't have to bury the lead there. But I wouldn't kill anybody for being on Ohio State or Oregon for that matter.
Look, Ohio State reloaded. That's what they do. That's what they do. They're Ohio State. James Franklin, the big knock here. Jimmy he never wins the big game, even though he's a dog in almost all of them, but he never wins the big game. Oregon, look, they won the Big Ten in its first season, which, I mean, I think a lot of people liked them to do. They did it. They're right up there again, but they got absolutely destroyed in that Rose Bowl, and I don't think they're as good as they were last year. Surprise team last year, I think, to everybody was Indiana. I think you can cross them off this year. I don't think they have a shot in hell at winning this or going 11-2 again and making a run at the college football playoff. Look, a lot of people believe in Illinois. They could be the dark horse this year with 19 starters returning from a team that won 10 games, maybe. Michigan and USC, for me, they were down the board, but a lot of talent is there, and they could rebound in 2025. But it's simple for me. Ohio State, I think they're overrated. I think maybe they should be the 10th best team in the land. Certainly not 3 when I look at this roster. They only return 9. And the schedule's not easy. They get Texas and Penn State at home. But this is the thing, Jimmy, and I've said this to you before as Michigan fans. The horseshoe has been known to let a high-ranked team come in there and punch Brutus right in the teeth. And I think that's what's going to happen Saturday. I do. So I'm fading Ohio State this year. Look, here's what I have to say to Ohio State, Michigan, this debate. You know why they call it the horseshoe, Jimmy? Because you're lucky when you get to go on the road there, because it's not that scary. You know why they call it the big house? You're going to jail, and you're going to get kicked in the nuts. That's why. I'm not scared of the horseshoe. Penn State will win there. Texas will win there. I'm fading this team. Like I said to you a few minutes ago, the Ducks, to me, they have way more questions this year than they've had in the last few years, so I'm not in on them. I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan, I promise. Jimmy might back me up here. I agree with Jimmy. Could be a year early, but Michigan is a very interesting team because I love the schedule. So it wouldn't shock me if they made a run. So 8.5 to 1 plus 850, wouldn't blame anyone for taking a shot here, but it's a year early for me.
But
My
you're right.
pick, like,
Well, and look, people grow up throughout the course of the college football season, right? Like the way they look at the beginning is it looks a lot different to the middle of the end. So if they don't start, they play Oklahoma week 2. But if they can get by Oklahoma and they can get a good 4 or 5 game stretch to kick the season off, they're going to be better as the year goes on. There's no question about it. Bryce Underwood, I would assume, is going to play some football, right? And
yeah,
start getting all of it. And
he's going to get
Oregon,
better.
yeah, and Oregon lost Dylan Gabriel to the Browns. They've got the kid that's starting for them now is a transfer from UCLA. Was out last year. He could be good. He was highly recruited, but Dylan Gabriel played like 65 college. I don't know, 170 college games or something, right? Like he was a very composed, mature starter for the college game, and they lost that. So and if this guy, I know he was a big recruit before. I hope nothing but the best. But he wouldn't have transferred and sat behind Dylan Gabriel if he was living up to that standard. So I think Oregon does take a step back. I think it comes down to those two, and hopefully, like you said, Michigan has a long shot.
Yep. Again, it's simple to me. I'll wrap it up with this. Penn State, team's loaded. They're the most talented team in the country. And it's, like I said before, it's now starting to show at the betting window as their odds are dropping. This is the year Drew Aller and James Franklin put it all together. And Jimmy, they win the big game. So give me Penn State. I got them a little higher, but we'll lock it in officially plus 220 because that's what they're at when we're doing the show. So write that down for us. On to the SEC. This should be an entertaining one in the SEC this year. It's probably a dry spell, everybody. I wouldn't call it a drought yet, but the SEC is made to win national championships, and they haven't the past 2 years after winning 4 titles in a row. They've been shut out for a few years now, so you know they're getting pissed. Look, the hated Big Ten by the SEC has won the last 2. Will the SEC prevent them from winning one this year? We'll find out when we give those picks. But for me, it comes down to a few teams, and it's not going to be shocking. It's the ones at the top, right? You got LSU, you got Alabama, you got Texas, and you got Georgia. Those to me are the top 4. And then you got, I think, Auburn, Florida, looking to bounce back, South Carolina looking to keep the momentum going, and could Ole Miss survive after losing Dart, but absolutely reloading through that portal? I think it's a very, very intriguing year.
I do too. I won't bother breaking. We talked about this conference on a previous show, head to toe. So do you want to just know who I'm going with? Because I think you're going to like it.
It's probably going to be the same as me. It's just going to piss me off more. So why don't I go first this time and give you my breakdown, and then you can, maybe it'll look like I'm the guy who's really making these picks, not you. All right. It's starting to upset me a little bit. So I got 3 teams I'm targeting. At the and at the top, it's Texas, because I think it comes down to the game against Georgia in November. I know it's on the road between the hedges, but I think Manning, after winning in the horseshoe in week 1, which is going to happen, you can write it down. I have a crystal ball. He's winning this weekend. It's going to be fine. I don't think he'll be intimidated at all going to Georgia. He's played in big games before. I don't think this kid's going to let us down at Georgia. I think they get the win. So at the top of the board, if you were making a pick, I like Texas. Plus, I think they were 275 the last time I looked. Further down the board, and this one will be my official pick, I love LSU at 7-1. Absolutely love this team. It all starts with Nussmeier, right? He's decided to come back. Maybe he's not Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow, but my God, he's close. 4,052 yards and 29 touchdowns last season. I mean, this guy is good. I think the defense will be much better this year. The offense, I believe, was ranked nationally 7th last year, at least in the passing. The defense was not very good, but I think they're going to be much improved. And if Brian Kelly can ever win week 1, the schedule sets up for him. And I like this team a lot. Before I throw to Jimmy, here's my long shot. I alluded to it before. Ole Miss 16-1. They lost to Dart. It's going to be hard to overcome. But they have some pieces, and they reloaded through the portal with a lot of talent. Anybody who wants to take a flyer down the board, 16-1, I think this is your team. All right. Are you on LSU as well?
I am. Listen, they're down the board a few pegs. It's not the top pick. I get it. I'm nervous about Texas. I know what we're saying coming in, Arch Manning, but they're just, I don't know, something about it. It feels like we're waiting for a slight letdown, not a major letdown, a slight letdown. LSU, if Brian Kelly wasn't the coach, I'd be all over LSU. Like, the only reason I'm even pausing is because Brian Kelly's there, and he just has a. You talk about losing games you should win or losing in a big moment. Brian Kelly is the poster boy for it. Give James Franklin a break. But assuming they get by Clemson, in which there will be a dog, I think the schedule lines up very, very well, with the exception of the Bama game. They have Ole Miss as well. I'm not as worried about it. They've got multiple receivers coming back. They've got a transfer coming in that's allegedly very, very good. They already had 8 on each side of the ball returning. And Brian Kelly, though he is Brian Kelly, is a good coach. Like, he went from the Bearcats to Notre Dame to LSU for a reason, right? He was like he's a good coach. So I think it's great value. Like, I think a team that was 9-4 last year in the SEC, not 9-4 in the AAC, right? And with all these people returning, with, like you said, Nussmeier, who's a very, very good quarterback, I don't know how you can pick against him. I mean, I think that, again, Texas is really good, but I think the Manning effect is real, right? And people are falling in love with the name, and I know he's good, but I think that is 100% true. I think Alabama is kind of a dark. Like, I feel like Alabama is now almost flying under the radar. Like, we're not talking about them that much.
They're
But
plus 380. I wouldn't call them a long shot yet, but I know what you're saying.
nobody's talking about them. I feel like,
and they're talented.
Yeah.
But my problem with Bama was when I looked at that team next to Texas, I still think Texas is better. But if you told me Bama was better than Georgia this year, you could sell me on that.
Yeah, I concur. But yeah, I mean, all of this all comes back to, I think on paper, it's LSU, right? If I were to take the Brian Kelly away from it, I would say on paper this should be LSU. And Brian Kelly can coach football. That's why he's there. Brian Kelly. And LSU win.
If you're LSU, here's the goal. Just get to the championship game. Hope it's not Georgia, because for some reason Georgia gets to play a home game every time it's in the conference championship. And anything can happen on that Saturday in December. And you win. You get 7-1, because I can promise you they're not going to be 7-1 that day.
No.
So
no.
Let's hope. Let's hope they get there. So we got a lot of long shots that we gave out today. I hope you guys are writing them all down. Jimmy will post them all on X at some point. Hopefully he was writing them down. Let's go to the Heisman quickly, and it's a good segue because it's very simple for me. The only bet I'm making is Nussmeier 9-1. Here's why. I gave out Daniels 2 years ago at the exact same odds when LSU was the exact same odds to win the conference and the exact same odds to win the national championship. And I think it's going to happen again, because all LSU does is produce Heisman winning quarterbacks. And they're going to do it again for the third time in 7 years.
I think you're probably right. If at the top of the board, that's the way to go. Going down the board, not at extreme long shots, but I'll give 2. I think Lenore Sellers, I mean, he's been talked about. I think if their team is any good at all, he's got a really good chance of winning it. And I give you Carson Beck. We just talked about Miami. Like, at 18-1, like, he's a national champion quarterback. If Miami loses one game or God forbid they go undefeated, which I don't think they will, like, I don't see how 18-1 on Carson Beck's, it seems like very good value to me. So I would tell you both of those guys at 18-1 is where you're going to get the value. I don't think Drew Aller will win it, because I think Penn State's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be completely because of him. And then after that, I just think that I don't know. I'm just not sold on anybody. But I think those two in that mid range are great value.
All right. We'll end with our picks for the Final Four, the champ. But before we get there, I'm going to give 2 with plus odds to make the playoffs if you want to take a shot. They're not great odds because, again, 12 teams make it, so you can't get crazy odds unless you're willing to bet someone who really has no shot. I love Michigan 2-1. I think they got a great shot to make the playoffs. We talked about it before. That schedule just lines up well. And I really, for some reason, just have this gut feeling that Auburn is going to have a good year. And I don't hate Auburn to be maybe that 4th SEC team to sneak in at 4-1. All right. Who's your Final Four?
All right. Number 1 is not surprising to anybody. Penn State.
Yep. Penn State is also my first team in.
Number 2, because we just picked them to win the SEC, it's LSU.
We're unfortunately lined up yet again. So LSU and Penn State are my first 2 in.
I'm going to go out on a limb because we picked them as well. I'm going to give you Miami. I think they do it. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people are on Clemson. A lot of experts I hear are on Clemson. I'm going to go be a contrarian, and I'm going to pick Miami.
Okay. I'm on the Horns. The Horns are my third team.
The Horns. I was between the Horns and Ohio State. But it depends on how the bracket lines up on all this too, right? So it kind of becomes difficult. It used to be a little easier, but I'll go horns with you, especially if they beat Ohio State to kick off the year. I don't know how we can't run with them. So I've got Penn State, LSU, Miami, and Texas.
All right, so we got one difference in the Final Four. Mine is going to be Penn State, LSU, Texas. And while I said it before, I think the value play is on Miami. They can both make the playoffs, possibly, but I like Clemson in that Final Four. So mine is Penn State, LSU, Texas, and Clemson, and I don't think it's any shock here. My national champion, lock it up. It's happening. And right now it is, they are the third choice at 7-1. It was 7.5-1 a few days ago. Give me Penn State, James Franklin. He gets it done. He brings it back. I'm taking the Nittany Lions to win the national championship.
Love it. Let's get another Big Ten win. 3 years in a row. Kiss my ass, SEC.
That's where you're at too, Penn State?
Yeah, I mean, everything seems to be lining up. Again, I'll give you credit for talking about it. It's now it's getting popular. If I was nervous about anything, is when momentum gets behind something like that. We're set up for a letdown. But you made a really good point that he's lost the big game, but he wasn't favored in any of these big games. They were the dog in all of them. Well, he might go into them as the favorite. Let's see what he does with the team that's supposed to win. Why should we think it? They haven't overachieved? If we want to criticize them at any point, they've achieved exactly like they were supposed to. Well, now they're supposed to be there. So why not?
Yep, I'm in. So write it down. Who you got? Official national championship pick, Penn State. All right, that's our college football futures preview show. Thank you again for listening. Again, if you like the show, please hit the follow and subscribe button, and please recommend us to a friend. Follow us on X and Instagram at WhoYouGot33, as we'll post some great picks in between shows. And you can now watch our show and find some of our content over at the KC Sports Authority YouTube channel and hear some of their great picks when it comes to the local Kansas teams. And I promise you, this was not common if it's your first time joining us. We do not agree often. We normally are fighting. Today was a weird one. So we are in lockstep on a lot of these futures, which we will post, like I said, on Instagram. And please keep any of those comments or questions coming our way at whoyougot33@gmail.com. Jimmy, any final words?
Real quick, not this weekend, but next weekend, there's a really good UFC fight night. We'll talk about it a little bit next show. Won't take a lot of time because we've got so much football. However, if you listen to the last show, I said the last card was unbettable. If you're going to make a bet, the only thing you can bet is plus 450 on Johnny Walker, and it cashed if you listened.
Awesome. Nice pick. We should have started out with that. I apologize taking your thunder there. Good pick. All right, good luck, everyone. Let's cash some of these future tickets. Let's get ready. Football is finally back. We'll have football every Sunday for about the next 4.5 months, which I can't wait. And remember, if you're betting any totals this week, it's never under till it's over.